And already, like, my FPS is below 60. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Let me just tell someone this, because they helped me. Alright, so. Welcome to the WardiTV Invitational, Christmas Invitational. Yeah, what a fantastic group we've got today. I just couldn't help but make one group of death in this event. It's just the way it worked out. If the days players could play and the days other players couldn't play and stuff like that. I do feel this group is extremely tough compared to... I feel the other groups are all very difficult as well, but I think this one really has some monsters in it. Harstem, Snoot, and GuMiho. Billowy can take down any of these players on a good day as well, you know? Like, this could be a really, really crazy day of StarCraft 2, so... I'm very glad that you're all here to enjoy it with me, guys. And welcome to the stream. To the bottom left-hand side of the map, we're going to be kicking things off then with the blue Protoss player from Invasion Esports. It is Harstem. And to the top right-hand side of the map, our red Terran player is going to be GuMiho. Now, I was actually, I just forgot to switch my glasses. These glasses have been hurting me the last couple of days because they're a little bit too thick to have headphones on with. Like the arms of the glasses, is that what you call them? They're just a little bit too thick to have headphones on with. So, put my other ones on instead, which are just a little bit nicer on my head so I don't get, like, head pains after casting for like the next 10 hours or whatever we're casting for. We are doing 2 events today. This is going to be the first of them, of course, the WardiTV Christmas Invitational Group B. And later tonight we're going to be doing the Go for SC2 November monthly finals. So plenty of StarCraft 2 for you guys today right here on WardiTV. So don't forget to stay tuned, don't go anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere. You need to just sit right here and enjoy the games. Reaper will pop on up here from GuMiho and already start to scout around. From both players, already a fairly standard expansion coming in on either side. And Adept comes forwards and is going to hit that Reaper, and that Reaper is going to get pushed away now. So already Reaper getting pushed away, and we see Harstem investing into a Stargate very early on in this. Denying the scout is nice, of course, and that's why he's just going to keep this Adept patrol here at the front, because he does want to just deny a Reaper from getting into that main base and figuring out what exactly is going on too early into the game, you know, before he wants it to be figured out. So he wants to hide this Stargate as long as possible. While GuMiho, well, he's actually setting up into this Cyclone. So already getting Cyclone out. I mean, Cyclones aren't the be-all and end-all of anti-air defense nowadays for Terran players. The anti-air is actually pretty weak. So first Cyclone on the way out. And a couple more Marines going to be popping as well in the next couple of moments. This first Cyclone pops is going to be moving forwards a little bit. And the factory is actually going to lift and go into the reactor. So maybe some more Cyclones on the way here very soon. As GuMiho will look for a lot of pressure here in the early stages, it would seem, onto his opponent. Now, what does Harstem need to do to defend this sort of Cyclone push at the front? Well, probably need something like a pylon here towards the front. Like a pylon coming down. Yeah, a pylon is going to be one of the main things, right? Overcharge can be very important. It's going to be interesting to see what the Oracle can actually add into this. I actually think he might need to use the Oracle as a part of his defense here, because if he doesn't use the Oracle as part of his defense, I just don't think he has the DPS to actually take down the Cyclone. I mean, he can sort of fight this Cyclone. It's kind of ridiculous that an Oracle can actually fight a Cyclone now. Look at this. Perfect micro from Harstem, chases it down. The Cyclone dies to an Oracle. How ridiculous is that? I mean, I'm very Terran biased, I'm not going to lie. But surely, we all look at that, and it looks absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, 2 more Cyclones coming across the map. A second Oracle on the way out now. I mean, already killing off one of these definitely does slow GuMiho down, as he's going to end on the second barracks. He is going to go stim and play a bio-based follow-up. Just a couple more Cyclones continue to be reacted out. These 2 are going to come in towards the third base, and, well, Harstem's going to lose this pylon over here pretty swiftly. Doesn't even get a chance to cancel that, and he'll probably have to cancel the third Nexus. He should see this in time to cancel it. Harstem actually comes in with the Oracles. And here you go, he's going to get rid of one of these Cyclones almost immediately now. And this other Cyclone still locked on, but the Cyclones are going to continue dying to these Oracles. Isn't that crazy? That the actual counter to Cyclones is just Oracles. How sick is that? So sick. I can't actually get over that. That's actually insane. Anyways, Marines and Cyclones are going to push now towards the third base. He still wants to try and get rid of this here. He's not sure what was going on over in the main, just the Reaper actually, which is now going to get taken down by a couple of these Adepts. So a couple of Adepts getting rid of that there, as these Cyclones continue to push forwards, and Nexus just continue to build on up. So Nexus will finish here very shortly. Marines are going to continue moving in, and they are going to be getting rid of that third Nexus. This time Harstem does have to cancel it, does that very last moment there, try and let it finish. Well, not. I mean, just. I mean, why let it? If you know you're not going to save it, cancelling it earlier is actually better. So, either way, I mean, he gets the cancel. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. As we just see 3 more gateways coming in from Harstem. So 3 more gates coming in from Harstem. So Resonating Glaives is currently Chrono boosting out. And we're going to be seeing the 2 more pylons coming down from Harstem here. So 2 more pylons coming down. We're just going to be seeing these Marines just on the way up to the top side of the map. So a few more Marines coming up to the top, and a couple of these Oracles will head on over to the right hand side as well. Alright, so very interesting opening really, because these early Oracles have done a lot in terms of defense, but not a lot of harassment, which is what you might expect Oracles to actually be used for. So it has been interesting, but I mean, Harstem keeping himself safe, is getting into that 3rd Nexus once again right now. And just flying around with these Oracles, looking for opportunities, maybe even looking for Revelation onto the Bio Army to keep track of any drops that are coming out towards him over the near future. Combat Shields and Concussive Shells on the way now from GuMiho as well, so continuing to set up into this. There's 1 Marine just checking the 3rd base is indeed on the way back up, and so it is. And Harstem cleans that Marine out without really any issues at all. More units just moving forwards here from GuMiho. And we're going to be seeing these 2 sized Oracles just moving down the right hand side of the map. So just again bringing everything back together and just thinking about how you might want to engage into this. Interesting, he hasn't dropped a Revelation or found that opportunity. I mean, you would think that you know, with 2 Oracles on the map, he would have found the chance to revelate. Oh, sorry, he hit one of the Medivacs. Okay, so he has revelated the Medivacs, and now he gets the rest of the army too. Okay, so he does get to see where this is. Alright, well that's nice from Harstem. It means he can position accordingly. Make sure he never really takes too much damage in any of these situations. We're just going to be seeing the Bio still moving down the right-hand side. A probe going up the left as well. And a few Adepts going to shade on forwards here. Stalkers as well. Don't have Blink just yet. Is he going to commit onto this army with these Adepts? He is. Oracles are going to come in. I just feel he's a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his army with these Adepts. Because now he's actually going to try to fight this. The force field comes down. There's so much Bio here. Widowmines drop in and out as well. And they're just going to burrow up, and Harstem has to back away. These first 2 Cyclones as well start to do a lot of damage, as we'll see this army turn to begin fighting once again. Marines are continuing to drop down. And we'll see this Cyclone is not taking a little bit of damage, but honestly, GuMiho just seems to have a little bit too much right here as he's breaking through this front line of Adepts, and as the Adepts fall, Harstem is just losing out on absolutely everything. He wants in another round of Adepts, but I mean, well, it will actually be good to actually push his opponent back, but man, there's a tough couple of moments there. We're going to be seeing, well, re-engaging. An overcharge going down the pylon to help Harstem defend for a little while longer. As this Widowmine just stays burrowed off over to the right-hand side. The Liberator coming down the right as well. And still just more units coming down to the south side. As the Adepts are looking to see what's up. Another overcharge coming into play, and we're going to see this Marauder going to get picked away at. And some Medivac taking a lot of damage too. A few more Stalkers just walking in here from Harstem, as we're going to see a couple little bits of damage being done. And still just sat back here. GuMiho continue to pressure this location. It just gets more difficult for Harstem, obviously, as these Liberators come into play, because it's a very narrow position, and it means the Liberators control this area so easily and without much of an issue. So these Liberators will sit high, they will sit strong, and it means that Harstem is really struggling to find a way to fight on in. He's losing workers on his gas, he might even lose the Assimilator very shortly. His Mothership Core taking some damage. I mean, Harstem in a moment or two just has to go for this. I don't think he can sit around much longer. But if he blinks on in, the Widowmines are going to have the time of their lives against the Stalkers as well. And there we go, the Stalkers just keep on getting blown up. The Liberators, when one of them falls, the other will survive. But it's just going to be reinforced so quickly here as Bio forces continue to stream on in. And GuMiho looking good to take game number 1 of this. Where did it all go wrong for Harstem? I think just engaging a little bit prematurely up this right-hand side and attacking in with those few Adepts. Or maybe even kind of he went Resonating Glaives early, right? Maybe even the Resonating Glaives wasn't the right choice for him here, because he never really harassed with it. He never used those Adepts to any kind of purpose. He never, got them into the main base and started slowing the Terran player down. He let the Terran player push in towards him, and we saw alone that the Adepts were just not going to be able to be enough to try and take down this Terran army. So maybe the Blink earlier could have helped out a little bit, and just to warp prison, get some pressure on the map, slow the Terran down from pushing out so easily, and just bring his entire army across the fight when you're not, as prepared as you might expect. A few more Liberators going to siege up here as Harstem just does not have anything left. That's the GG. GuMiho is going to take game number 1 of this best of 3. Let's do this. Let's see what's going to happen as we jump on in. We have to the top left-hand side of the map our Blue Protoss player who's down by 1, representing Invasion Esports. It is Harstem. Down to the bottom right hand side, our red Terran player is GuMiho. I really feel as though I just have some option severely screwed up in this, like... I just don't understand why my FPS is so low lately. It's really crazy, like it should just be so much higher on this PC. It just should be so much higher. I have no idea. If anyone's a PC god and wants to help me out and has suggestions as to why my FPS might be low in StarCraft, like it's not even 60 at the start of the game. It's like super low already. It just doesn't make any sense, so. Anyways, we set up, guys. Go into this and look to see what's going to happen. So early Reaper on the way from GuMiho, setting up into that. Pretty similar to the last game, of course. We saw Reaper expand against a pretty standard expand from Harstem. Interested to see what Harstem goes for here overall, because he went for the Stargate last time. He did a very good job of defending against the Oracles, the Cyclones early. He did have to cancel his third base. Yes, he still did have to cancel his third base, so... But it still kind of delayed the first Cyclones, right? And it meant that GuMiho had to build, like, 5 Cyclones before he got a cancel on the third, which is quite a big investment. So, you know, I don't think that was necessarily the issue. There's a pretty fast third base from Harstem as well, considering that GuMiho was still making those expensive gas-heavy units, which delays a lot of his other tech. You know, Starport didn't come out for a long time, you know, so there wasn't any threat of drops for a long time and so on. You know, Stimpack got a little bit delayed because of that and stuff. So, so yeah. It's going to be seeing this mothership core just popping on out, and we're going to be seeing it coming out overhead. This Reaper just moving on through and having a little bit of a look around to see what's happening here. Nexus on the low ground are going to be finishing as well, as this Reaper is going to loop around the back of this natural. So Reaper loops around the back of the natural expansion, and GuMiho just continue to build up this CC on the natural as well. Starport coming down from GuMiho, and yeah, we just continue to see how this goes. Reaper is going to be moving through, going to pop a grenade down onto a few of those probes. Then going to hop down to the low ground as he gets picked off, and that will be that for now. As GuMiho now going to sit just at the frontier of a couple of these Marines, and the Starport going to be finishing very, very shortly. So Starport will finish up. This Woodermine continue to come out, a couple more Marines on the way out, and this Medevac on the way out as well. And there's going to be seeing Twilight Council in the Robo Facility continue to build from Harstem. So much different approach from him in this second game. Going to this Robo Twilight is obviously a very, very, very different build order. So just setting up into that, and we're going to see this just patrolling at the front, just to see what else is going on. So if the Robo Twilight blink is pretty much the standard way to go about things, so blink early. That helps you to deflect jobs, you can take some map control of it as well, maybe try and delay a super fast third base from building in position or something. As you do see this Widowminer 6 Marines moving up towards the top side of the map. So Widowminer 6 Marines going to be looking to see what's going to happen. We're going to see this Observer of Harstem moving out as well. So he doesn't actually see this drop just yet, doesn't know where it is. He has a pylon in the mineral line, so if he responds quickly, he shouldn't have too much issue. Even if this Widowmine goes off on just one probe, it's not that big of a deal, because actually his observer's on the way out, and he should be able to clean that up still before he has any further issue with this. Marines will drop out of location compared to this pylon, though, which is obviously a little bit of a frustration. Marines will come in, though, and be able to deal with that very soon. Observer on its way over. And does he drop the overcharge? He doesn't need to, I guess. The mothership core will do its job as the depth goes down over here. A few more Stalkers warping in. He'll lose one of them. The first one did kite back quite nicely, but the second one unfortunately does not find that. As he is going to commit, he does get the medevac kill. So hey, you know, well, actually he loses the third Stalker. He loses 3 Stalkers, he kills the medevac, he kills everything. It's a mixture of good and bad, right? Like, it's not perfect, but it could have been so much worse. One pylon here is actually now going to help a little bit against the Liberator, although there's still a big gap over here for this Liberator to siege up in. Interesting that this pylon is on the Nexus and in the mineral line, rather than maybe here just behind the mineral line to help defend against any sort of Liberator-based plays in the early game. So it's a little bit of an interesting pylon positioning, but I mean, for now it's worked out. Let's see what the Liberator can do. As we're going to be seeing the tank popping out here as well from GuMiho. Marines and a couple of tanks from him just setting up down on the low ground. If I launch StarCraft 2 in 64-bit mode, try switching it back to 32-bit. How do I switch it to 32-bit mode though? I don't even see how to do that. I tried to look for that earlier because I know someone said that yesterday. I don't even know how to change that. I've got no clue. Anyways, we're going to be seeing this Liberator just setting up. Still at the top side, hasn't moved in just yet. May just be waiting for his push at the front to come in at the same time so he can combo it, or he might even bring it round and actually use it as part of his push at the front. So that's also going to be a possibility here, as a whole bunch of Marines joining up from GuMiho right now, and well, these Stalkers from Harstem begin to move down towards the bottom right hand side of the map. So Stalkers moving down to the bottom right. You can see this combat shield is on the way up. The stim pack is going to be finishing very shortly as well. And just going to be seeing GuMiho really I mean, getting in towards his mid game quite comfortably. Harstem is going into Colossus base players this opening. He's got Resonating Glaze follow-up. Much later third base from Harstem this time around. So, much later third bases. Here we go. This Liberator Sieges. So it's in a good position to actually pick away a few of these probes. Actually, the thing is, though, for Harstem here, he can actually still attack this by just coming around the side of his Stalkers. These Stalkers over here getting deflected by the Siege Tank. The Liberator backs away very smartly, very early as well, making sure he's not going to take too much damage. So that Liberator backs around and is going to come in towards the main base now, perhaps. Oh no, we're going to switch up on the natural again. In range of an overcharge here, actually, so it's a little bit of a riskier position. Stalker's going to blink in. Only 3 Stalkers, though, which means he's going to lose 2 of them. And this third one as well is going to go down. So 3 Stalkers for the Liberator. Again, not the best of trades from Harstem right away, as these Stalkers at the front trying to trade it out, and unfortunately just not finding anything just yet. 5 workers gone down. You can see the overcharge is very delayed there. Don't know if Harstem realized that Liberator actually got killed. And there's a little bit of a weird overcharge coming out of him at that point. So a little bit strange, as we can see GuMiho continue to move in towards the upper left-hand side. His first Widowmine goes down already in this medevac. And he gets picked up. Another Widowmine going down as well. You see him, Stalker's blinking forwards again, and lots of Marines stimming in. He tries to get rid of the Liberator, but that's pretty much all he's going to get rid of here. He hasn't got anything left to tank anymore. And this Colossus and Immortal are very exposed. I mean, just in general, Stalkers as well will just go down so quickly in this army. I mean, without having anything else to tank, that's just the way it is. I mean, actually more Stalkers coming in a second Colossus. Keeping the first Colossus alive is a really big deal. Super low on health, but it means he has so much more firepower in his army still. And it's GuMiho just about to finish up his third base in the location. Well, Harstem actually holds on for now. This was keeping the Colossus alive is something I didn't expect him to do. And yeah, I didn't really expect him to be able to do that. So that actually makes quite a difference, as we're going to be seeing these 2 Liberators coming up the left-hand side to harass. I mean, just having 2 Colossi instead of 3, it's instead of 1. It's one of these things, one of these units, just because it's splash damage, it really adds up so quickly. So, and obviously it's an expensive unit as well, so keeping that alive is a big deal. As we see those Liberators splitting up, one will go to the main, one getting ready to go on towards the third. It's a very good map for the Liberators, especially if you don't have pylons immediately in position all over the place. Ooh, this is not a good position for the Liberator, though. The overcharge to the right-hand side will clean it up. This Liberator on the third base still just sat there. This is an awkward base, actually, because where do you even put the pylon to defend it? You need high ground vision as well. It's actually a bit of a horrible location to deal with in terms of anti-Liberator players, so just going to be seeing this Nexus continue to Chrono Boost away right now, and well, just going to be seeing Starport is coming down as well onto this reactor. What's going on? +1 armor's coming down for our Terran players. He's going to maintain a pretty equal set of upgrades to his opponent. We'll see as there's going to be a second engineering bay coming down from GuMiho now as well with the armory, so setting up in towards that. No sign of anything like that from Harstem. It actually now adds on a disruptor. The single disruptor can actually go a long way in terms of forcing the Terran player to disengage slightly. And it does buy you a lot more time than you might initially kind of think when that single disruptor shot moves forwards and tries to get some damage done. So that's definitely something to watch out for here in the next few moments. We're going to be seeing Marines and Rollers begin to stim on forwards. This Colossi already having to pull backwards. Liberators will now siege up. You know, Harstem again keeping his important units alive, just losing a few adepts as he trades out here is not such a bad thing. Those 2 Widowmines will push forwards as well. They're just going to go right at the front. And Stalkers, a Disruptor, Colossi from Harstem, all of them gathering up together between the second and the third base. This Extended Thermal Lance is going to be finishing up very shortly on this Robo Bay, so that's going to be finishing up very soon. The +2/+2 upgrades coming in from GuMiho as well right now, as a couple of Vikings are starting up in production also. And these two Marauders off over to the left-hand side, going to pick off a pylon here. And there's the Disruptor Shot, cleans out the first two Widow Mines. And another Disruptor being added on as well. Again, I like the addition of the Disruptor or two. I really feel it can go a long way to helping you really just kind of control the engagements as a, as a Protoss player. I feel as though it can really give you a lot of, I feel as though it can give you kind of a good little advantage as we see these units just going to be moving a little bit further forwards right now. Going to be seeing Stalkers over here cleaning up the Marine and Marauder that was harassing. And we're getting in towards the later stages of this game, so we're really seeing both players allowed to build up into what they want to build up. Harstem still building armor upgrades, plus 2 of that is on the way for him right now. Dark Shrine coming down for him as well. So continue to set up into that. We're going to see these two Liberators. They're going to go around the right-hand side of the map. And they look as though they've already tried to come in towards the natural, but didn't have much luck. And so decided to turn away. It was the two Liberators that part of the fight. And that's why one of them is half health, because the Stalkers were attacking it in the early stages before it sieged up. And so here we go, pushing forwards. I mean, no Liberators with this army immediately. Lots of Vikings in the back. Is there enough to kind of take on this many Colossus, though? I mean, there's 3 Colossi. I guess one of them's fairly low on health. Still 7 Vikings. They'll chew through them, but not super quickly, as we see this Liberator is going to have to reposition. And, I mean, there we go. Super annoying location here to deal with. Stalkers will just warp in, and I guess they'll just blink forwards and try and deal with that as soon as possible. And it's 4 Stalkers actually, so a little bit better than last time. He'll only lose 2 of the Stalkers while taking down this Liberator. And both players will have set up onto a 4th base as well, so we're really here on Echo going into the later stages of this game. A Marine going down already. Templar Archives on the way up in the natural expansion still too. Plus 3 armor is being chrono boosted out. Plus 3 armor being chrono boosted out. Plus 2 attack starts up as well from Harstem. As we see the plus 2 ship weapons starting up on the armory also. Planetary Fortress fires away and is starting to deal a lot of damage to this Adept. Adept going to be just about sneaking away right then. So Adept manages to sneak away, and Harstem still just moving these few units around. He still has 4 Disruptors mixed in here. It's one of these games where neither player necessarily wants to attack into the other. Very difficult for the Terran player to attack into Disruptor balls. And of course very difficult for the Protoss player to attack when there's a couple of Liberators on the map. It's a choked up map. There's Ghosts with EMPs readily available. And there's plenty of Vikings willing to just pick off those Colossus. So both players are very happy to let this game just go on a bit and to trail into the later stages of the game. As you're going to be seeing Storm on the way up as well right now. And it's going to be seeing 1 Stalker getting picked off. So 1 Stalker gets taken down. And these couple of Ghosts are going to be taken down pretty quickly as well. A couple of EMPs in the middle of this army. Single Disruptor Shot going forwards again. Just a few more units from GuMiho going over to the right-hand side. Just trying to run by, do a little bit of downshot drops here and there. It's GuMiho who's actually making a big move through the center of the map now towards his opponent's army. And we're going to start sieging up some of these Liberators. Colossus, one of them will go down, blinking forwards with the Stalkers. Now the Disruptor Shots, well, they are designed basically to get rid of this bio while the Stalkers protect the Colossus. But every single Colossus falls, and there's still Vikings left in the sky. And Storm is not ready yet as he stims on forwards. I mean, there's a lot of Adepts and Stalkers here, though, so GuMiho still does have to be cautious. And we're going to be seeing a few units over here. Harstem will blink on top of these and just make sure that they don't get away. Big army to the left-hand side as well. GuMiho continue to move around and just locating, putting bio all over the map, so it's very hard for Harstem to keep up to date with where everything is at the same time and where everything is moving and where exactly the next attack is going to be coming from. It's really going to force Harstem to start splitting up his army. And that can be very frustrating. This Mothership Core, for example, now moves towards the 3rd, and the Stalkers, and so far so good. Harstem knows about those units, and he's responding to them. But as this continues, it becomes more and more difficult to stay in the loop, as we're going to be seeing this Nexus maybe even just going down right now, as these Marines and Marauders could take this Nexus down almost straight away. And these Adepts and Stalkers, Colossus, and Disruptors continue moving down the right, trying to chase now. Extra upgrades finishing up for our Protoss play. That'll make a big difference going into the next fight, as we see some Vikings in the back. Well, they're not really going anywhere. They're not really doing anything. I guess they can land and pick away at a little bit of a few bits and pieces. And that's what these Stalkers are going to try and deny as well, of course. And blinking forwards, a couple of them getting taken down. These Vikings not really having much luck at all. So Harstem pushes forwards. I mean, he just lost his 4th base. He wants to try and get something back after that kind of loss here. 15 probes going down as these Marines and Marauders are coming in, though. And they're cleaning up the Stalkers very easily. The Vikings as well landing, going to try and cancel this base. Harstem moves in towards the 3rd base of his opponent as GuMiho just goes across the map and says, okay, let's base trade. So GuMiho just going to initiate a base trade here. 2 DTs go down in this initial scan already, so that's obviously already a big loss. As GuMiho is going to go straight up this ramp and just go straight for the production lines of Harstem, pylons and whatever else he can find. And that's something which Harstem might want to try and look in towards already. But look how many Liberators and value units are left at home from GuMiho. He's got so much ready to defend this counterattack. And this is going to be, well, truly, for GuMiho, I think a very easy hold. I mean, you look at this, so many Liberators already sieging up. And I mean, he's just going to do so much damage over here. Gets rid of the Dark Shrine, so DT is going to need to be an issue anymore. He doesn't have to use too many more scans. He scans once more. There is one DT down over to his left-hand side. And doesn't get there before DT actually runs in towards these units before the scan expires. Harstem's going to turn around and start going home because he sees the Liberators back over here. I mean, what's his goal? I mean, he's going to have lost so much. These Vikings actually lift him back away. They could come in here and help to finish off the natural expansion. Thing is, though, Harstem's Structures tab will tell you the story of this. 1 warp gate left, and he's actually still in the main, so he has no gateways at all to warp in from, so he can't build anything, whereas GuMiho, well, yeah, he needs a few depots, but as soon as he gets a few more depots up, he's still got bases, he's still mining, and he's got so much production to work with. And you know what, GuMiho, well, he can probably just lift up and get out of here if he wants to, just boost away. He actually turns to fight this. Now he'll lift up and boost away. You know what, if he goes towards that 4th, well, that could be, or sorry, the 3rd, that could be very problematic as well. A couple of medivacs do go down as he misrallies or goes back in when he maybe should have just continued to back away. I mean, a few storms coming down as well. It's just not going to be enough to pick away at these medivacs. And these medivacs move on through without really too much issue at all. GuMiho's still sat here over towards the bottom right-hand side with a good clump of units. And, well, starting to bring back these medivacs as well towards the lower right. So, a few more medivacs coming back towards the lower right. 4 more Liberators on the way up. And there's just so much on the map right now from GuMiho. What is Harstem meant to do? He's in such a troubling position where he just can't build anything even because he just doesn't have this production. Like, he has 2 forges and a Robobait. That is his structures outside of pylons, nexuses. He's got 4 cannons as well. But, you know, in terms of stuff that helps you build an army, that's all he has. Obviously, the forges don't even help either. So he's really got nothing. 2, 3 gates are on the way up. They'll finish soon. I mean, just simming forwards here. Even just losing a few units to these first few bayous is very painful. His Liberator is going to come in from the right-hand side and make it so it's going to be very difficult for a Protoss player to escape here. Actually, the Liberator is maybe sieging up just a little bit too far away over to this right side, but I mean, still, they are doing enough. And GuMiho pulling very safely back and away from this. I really don't feel as though that's a necessity for him. I feel as though he could have continued to push forwards. Stalkers will blink in. He'll get 1 Liberator, but small victories right now. As we're going to be seeing these Stalkers trying to see what else is up. A few more Marauders and Marines continue to come on in. So a few more Marines and Marauders coming in here. We could see these probes just transferring between the base, and a few more SCVs going to back away over from the far right and come over towards this base here, I guess. I mean, okay, I don't know why. This base is less saturated, so Harstem again kind of around the back of GuMiho's army. GuMiho is really still afraid to, fight this army. It seems there's only 1 High Templar in it. I guess he just says, well, actually, I can take a better fight by forcing you to fight where I want you to fight, basically. You know, these Liberators are going to be here, and you know, he's actually just going to leave these Liberators to sort of die on their own. The Vikings do get rid of the Colossus. I mean, he just stims in over here instead. He's just going to go for the base. So I am surprised by this by GuMiho, because I really do feel as though there's no need for him to necessarily do this. I feel as though he could have just taken a fight, which is the much safer way to do this. But instead he comes in, snipes down a base again, will lift up and back away. He's playing, again, I think a much riskier game than he needs to at this point. Vikings will land over here. A couple of Stalkers already warping in, and well, Vikings are going to start talking those down. Vikings actually do surprisingly well against Stalkers when they're landed nowadays with that buff they got the ground attack. We're just going to be seeing them continue to trade on out. And Stalkers actually continue to take quite a lot of damage. Drop back in over here. There's the GG from Harstem. It was a long time coming. GuMiho, I feel, really taking the longer way around